Doing good is good for business. As the world's largest B Corp, Danone North America is committed to doing good for the world and for your business, with the brands customers love like International Delight, Oikos, Silk, Horizon Organic, and many others. Learn more at DanoneAwayFromHome.com. Welcome back to another episode of Fast Casual Nation, where we talk about things that are really kind of moving and shaking in the fast casual restaurant sector. And today we're really going to hone in on technology and kind of this shifting landscape of guest service. And with me today, I've got Kevin Flaherty, who is the VP of Digital Services there at Mod Pizza. Great to have you on the show, Kevin.
Oh, thanks for having me, Paul.
Kevin, so Mod, of course, for our viewers, we had a chance to visit Scott and his wife in Seattle many years ago when Mod was still under 50 units. Mm-hmm. Quite a different animal today. Tell me a little about where you guys are today.
Sure. So, Mod's the original super fast pizza concept. It's artisan style pizzas and salads, individually sized, made on demand, ready in 2 minutes, any topping, same price. Since that last time you talked with Scott, we're now over about 480 units across North America. So wow. Yeah, a little bit different than the last time you spoke with us.
That's amazing. So the growth that you guys have experienced in the last few years, when you look at, technically, I think you're the fastest growing pizza chain in the country when it comes to fast casual. When you look at why this growth and why the movement here in Mod within fast casual, because there's a lot of fast casual pizza concepts that just have not panned out, no pun intended. But curious, what has been the differentiator factor for you guys? What's made you so successful?
Yeah, I think it really just boils down to we have a product that people enjoy. So the idea of being able to get the exact pizza you want, as many toppings as you want for one price, just really resonates in this day and age. But most importantly, it's the experience that people have when they do walk into a Mod, which comes down to the people. I think we've got a pretty special culture at Mod, driven by our purpose, and it just makes sure that every day we deliver a great experience for the customer because we give a great experience for our squad, and the business kind of takes care of itself from there.
Yeah, I like it. Well, that was one thing that really I found the first time I went into a Mod Pizza when I was in Seattle. And you're right, it was a completely different environment in terms of the team that was there. You could really see the difference in how they ran not only the operation, but also how they interacted with guests and all that. So I could definitely see how that makes a big factor. Let's talk about technology. That's your wheelhouse. And really some of the things that you guys have done here recently to address some of the challenges that the current pandemic, COVID-19, has kind of imposed itself on the food service industry. Let's talk about maybe one or two technology shifts that you guys have made to address these challenges and keep Mod on a positive track.
I mean, the biggest change is just how our customer interacts with us. So by and large, the majority of our business was done in store. And with the start of the pandemic, it shifted completely to becoming a very digitally oriented experience. Right. So really, our biggest change was making sure that we had all the ways that a customer might want to interact with us digitally available for them. And that wasn't the case prior to the pandemic. We really had to rush and make sure that we had those things available as quickly as possible so that we could service the customer no matter how they chose to interact with us, when coming into the store really wasn't an option going forward.
Right. Was when you say kind of shifting your business model in the sense of what became urgent in the technology forefront, contactless payment, curbside, obviously mobile ordering, all those kind of things. What has been the one area in those particular technologies that has kind of proven to you, hey, this is really something we need to look at on a long-term strategy basis?
So the biggest one that was just shocking on how big it got, how quickly, was obviously delivery. So both owned as well as third party. Customers for a long time have been used to delivery with pizza, but fast casual has kind of been an outlier in that way of servicing the customer. That definitely has changed. The other one is, as you said, curbside pickup. Customers want the convenience of being able to roll into the parking lot, have the order brought directly to them and be on their way. So the idea of convenience still is a driving force. I think that's the thing that, from a technology standpoint, we're trying to figure out: how do we just do it better, faster for the customer, any way that they might want to interact with us.
Within the framework of technology, because this is something that I've talked to many operators about, is once you put technology in between you and the customer, the brand itself starts to kind of fade to black. And that's a concern that a lot of operators have. What kind of steps have you guys taken to say, hey, wait a minute, we are we're kind of a people first brand. We're known for our great customer service. How do you digitize that and make it something that people can still recognize?
I think that's the big challenge that the folks working in digital across the industry have to face. I don't think it's an impossible challenge. I view my job as, how do I take that experience you get in the store and digitize it? How do I push it to your phone? How does it seem like it's mod when you're on your phone interacting with us on your phone as opposed to in the store? If I can do that, I think, we're moving in the right direction. I think when you think about the use case that people are trying to achieve when they're using digital channels, it's about speed, it's about accuracy, it's about being able to interact with us on their time and not ours. And so we view it as, how do we remove any barrier from a customer that keeps them from interacting with us and make it the most convenient experience for them? And I think, again, we've got a long way to go, but we've certainly made a lot of progress over the past year for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think it's, obviously with everything that's happening, it's pretty intriguing to me to see the innovation, just the speed of innovation that's happening within food service right now. It's every day seems like a new day in terms of new things that are happening out there for especially for fast casual, for sure. Let's get into a couple of categories of technology that is changing the face of fast casual. You guys are involved in one of them, and that is voice AI. So automated ordering, artificial intelligence being injected into the ordering process. What is it that you guys have done that has made that acceptable in the use case for consumers that have been used to being right there with a mod, employee or crew member, and kind of replacing that with a more interactive experience via voice?
Yeah, I think it comes down to, how fast can a customer order from mod? And by utilizing AI with our voice orders in particular, we've increased the speed by which we can execute a voice order with the customer. A lot of that just has to do with how the AI is able to understand nuances with the way people speak about ordering pizza or salad from mod.
Okay.
It learns very quickly and is able to parse out what a customer wants potentially faster than humans can. I mean, I go back to the original premise of why people are ordering digitally is they want to get through that process quickly so that they can get their food even faster. And so again, the reason AI is working for us is because we're helping the customer achieve what they ultimately want during this step of the process, which is quickly ordering the orders that they have. Other things that AI benefits from is it knows who you are by the phone number you're calling in. So it can already pull up the order of like, hey, Paul, we know that the last time you called, you ordered X, Y, and Z. Would you like to order it again? So it just learns ways to make the experience easier for the customer. I think our big challenge kind of going forward in this space is going to be, how do we make it mod? I encourage you guys to try it. Call one of our stores and interact with the AI. It is, again, it's a good experience, but it needs to become a mod experience. And that's where we're really pushing now, is how do we do that? How do we infuse the brand into an AI robot?
Interesting. I think this is going to be one of the areas that, especially fast casual, because of the menu complexity, and also because of the scenario of people wanting to maybe customize, which can really start to throw AI for a loop when you start to really change those dynamics up. You think, if I look at someone like a Chipotle who's got, sure, they've got 10 different menu items, but there's about 1,000 different ways to customize those menu items. With AI, do you feel like that technology is at least on way, or at least in track for developing the ability to deal with those kind of customizations?
Absolutely. I don't think we would have been able to launch AI as successfully as we have done without the ability to understand that. We
Really?
have over 30 items. You throw on toppings and sauces and all that. The combinations are limitless. And the
Yeah.
AI has to be able to understand those nuances. I think it's one of the reasons pizza maybe has been behind the curve in AI development because of that. But
Right.
the technology is caught up. It's there. We're processing a significant percentage of our phone orders through an AI today. Actually, more than the vast majority of them are going through AI right now.
Interesting. Very cool. All right. So moving on to the guest service application, because this is the scenario that so many, fast casual concepts, whether it's franchise or operators who are all company owned, they're really trying to crack the code on dealing with this new restaurant design, because essentially the line queue has really been disrupted with a 6 foot, barrier of every human in it. How have you guys addressed it? You obviously do have a line queue that goes in through a mod pizza. How are you guys addressing that when it comes to dining in and going forward with these kind of situations?
I mean, obviously, the first step was making sure that we're complying with, the 6 feet rule, making sure that the dwell spaces are properly social distanced. We have to deal with the infrastructure that we have today, and that was the first step. I think the bigger question for us is like, what do we do with the design of our stores going forward? How do we alter the existing footprints that we already have? And I think the jury's still out on how we're going to deal with all of this. I mean, we believe that, capacity of restaurants are going to be limited. The way that we seat and configure a restaurant is going to change. We're going to have to address it. I don't think we have the answers yet, and we're trying to figure out the right way to make it work. There's certain things we do know that the great thing, one of the things that we've seen with all the customers moving to digital is that is a very well-liked way of ordering. And if the percentage of digital orders stays as high as it has been, how does that impact the size of the stores that we have? How does that impact the amount of seating or the queue length that we have to build into the store itself? So I think these are all the things that we're weighing right now and trying to figure out our way forward. But every day, we're encountering a new and different concern. And I think the biggest thing we have to be willing to do is try a lot of stuff, see what works, and see how the customers react to it. At the end of the day, it's their experience. We have to deliver things that make it mod, but more importantly, make it relevant to the consumer at hand.
Yeah. I like the fact that you guys are at least, what most companies are right now, they're trying a lot of different things. There's really been no true answer. Probably the one thing I've seen in the marketplace has been the app-based ordering, but while you're in the restaurant and it's done at the table to kind of help circumvent the line for those who don't want to go and stand through the line if maybe they're coming through for a pickup or a takeout. So that may work going forward. Obviously, the format and the footprints, the whole unit economics are truly going to change in the next few years for fast casual. I think for QSR as well, because obviously drive-through you can only pump through so much through. Companies like Sonic Drive-In, who's got a unique queue in the way they've built their stores. All right, so with all that in mind, and you look at the technologies that we need going forward, if you were providing recommendations to app developers, CEOs of tech companies that are providing services to the food service industry, what would you say, hey, you guys need to go in this direction? These are some of the tech pieces that we need to kind of solve this puzzle.
I mean, at the end of the day, Mod's internal, master brain that runs our entire show is the POS. And so, all things start and end at the POS. So integrations into the POS are the things that I think we always think about and are constantly pushing the vendors to make sure that they're talking to each other correctly. Making sure that there's information flowing both ways. So does the POS understand how many people are in the store as well as are trying to transact digitally? That is one of the biggest struggles that we face right now is managing those two volumes of ordering.
That's a good point.
And so, I think if I could wave my magic wand, it would be the ability for those vendors to kind of make sure that those types of information are flowing back and forth. That would single-handedly really unleash a lot of customer experience enhancements that we could get after. That's the area where I think as the world shifts, the need for that, regardless of how things change, if it's going to be a digital only experience or an in-store only experience, that kind of information has to be available for companies like Mod or anyone else in this industry.
Yeah, for sure. You hit on something that I think I know a lot of consumers probably don't know what's happening when their order is maybe a little bit slower on premise because the takeout load is taxing the kitchen, but yet there's only 6 or 8 tables in the restaurant. So you get that kind of weirdness that's happening with the consumer. I was into a restaurant today and, I just took a quick photo of the takeout orders. There's 5 tables with people at it, but there was at least 40 orders for takeout sitting there at lunchtime. So the load balancing, I think, is going to be a huge challenge to really solve. And you're right. I think if the POS companies can start to help identify that, to help, kind of level those loads, especially by predictive analytics and things of that nature, that could be a big game changer for sure. All right. So let's talk, so customers have kind of adapted to mobile ordering. They've adapted kind of these new waves of pickup with curbside, things like that. Do you feel like with this concept and shift, moving forward, is this the track that we are going to hold for the next few years? Or maybe this is the shift we've been talking about that's been coming for a while, that's just the new format?
Prior to COVID, digital ordering was growing rapidly. During COVID, it's been exponential. I don't expect an exponential growth to continue, but at the same time, I don't think we're going back to pre-COVID states. Right. So I think, again, when we think about what's the experience of the future, what's the store of the future, it is well more digital than what it has ever been to date. And I think we've got to figure out how to get there. I think the customer also has experienced new handoff methods where they priorly never did. And we've got to figure out how to enhance those experiences and how to make sure it's really easy to train. I think that the one big thing that this pandemic has done is just increase the rate of innovation in the industry for digital experiences. And a little bit, we've got to catch up with all the things that we've kind of put out there. Now it's about the real hard work of those 1% improvements to the experience that really makes the difference. Like, you go to the e-commerce companies, they're working on 1% improvements. Really, we've been implementing these really big changes, but when it really becomes special is when you spend a lot of time honing the experience to exactly how the customer wants it and delivering it digitally. And that's what I'm really looking forward to getting after.
That's
launching
cool
stuff, big shiny new things, really fun. It's the optimization where that's the magic happens.
Yeah, for sure. It makes it work going long term. Let's talk a little bit about packaging, because that's also shifted dramatically in the takeout side. Also in the format too. What are your thoughts, one, on packaging, where that's going to go in the pizza segment? Because at least to my knowledge, if you're trying to do anything to an office, it gets a little tricky with multiple people eating out of the same pizza box. So that, and also, are you seeing any kind of trends toward cook at home pizzas? I remember Papa Murphy's many years ago, they prepared the pie, but they didn't cook it. Is there anything like that in the future for Mod in terms of those models?
Yeah, so I think from a packaging standpoint, we sort of lucked out. Our concept is individual-sized pizzas. So, where people want their own, like we've always kind of been in that space. Where we see the most interest from Mod is making sure that when we do package for delivery, how do we ensure to the customer that what has been packaged was only, interacted with by our squad members, particularly if you're utilizing a third-party delivery service. Yeah. What are those signals from the packaging that we can send that suggests their food was packaged with care and is safe for them to consume with their families? That's really, I believe, where the majority of our effort is being spent right now. I think longer term, you think about what do people care about when it comes to packaging? It's the quality of the food, how it's presented. Is it maintaining its heat and taste profile over a longer period of time than potentially if you were eating it in the store? These are areas that everybody is diving into and trying to figure out how they can deliver the best, delivery experience through packaging. Because again, it's the fastest piece of our business in terms of growth, and we expect it to be a big piece of our business going forward. With regard to your other question, I think we have seen a lot of people do the take home, experience and cook it yourself. I think the jury's out on how big an opportunity that is for us.
Right.
I've seen, we have no shortage of customers interested in ordering, a cooked, finished meal. I think that's the value prop of Mod, is you get a great fresh experience really quickly, exactly how you want it. Do people want to take the pieces and build it themselves at home? We haven't been asked for it a lot, to be honest.
Yeah. Interesting. I just, and that will be the question, is whether or not that becomes a trend moving forward when you look at people that are maybe looking at maybe pizza that they want to kind of queue up for the week, things of that nature. Different angles, because now we're having to deal with what used to be maybe 5 to 6 occasions of dining in our house. Because of the frequency that we had away from home. Now all that's come right back into the home, and I get to experience that in my own household now much more than I wanted to. And and pizza is always at the top of the list when you have 2 young children. So you got to get pretty creative on ways to kind of solve that dilemma for sure. All right, so we talked to a company that was doing pizza vending machines, essentially a robotic developer that is building pizza, not the Zoom type scenario where they cook it on the way to your house, but actually a vending machine. So it could be placed into a place like a large community center or a big condo center, or maybe even a hotel or something of that nature. Anything that you see in terms of technology going in that direction for the future in terms of robotic pizza prep? Kind of mods in a box.
I think the idea of mod in a box, or mod in different locations than what we envision today, is absolutely in the right ballpark. We have to be willing to look at different ways of delivering the mod experience in different locations. Like big thing that people were looking at is, wherever large groups gather, how do you service those on pop-ups and things like that?
Right. Sure.
But maybe those things aren't happening in the near future. But at the same time, I still believe there's a need state where there's going to be a customer who wants pizza, and they're not going to be at a traditional pizza location. How do we service them? And those are things we're considering. Ghost kitchens, I believe, are something that are really interesting that people are going to start looking at, even more so than they were prior to the pandemic. So again, I think we're still trying to figure out how to meet the needs wherever they might be.
Yeah, for sure. Well, ghost kitchen, virtual kitchens, they are up dramatically. We continue to see many more concepts rolling out the virtual kitchen options. So it's definitely here to stay. And I think it's probably going to be an interesting scenario, just with the issue with labor, even during the recovery, and then also real estate, as we start to see kind of a reformatting of where real estate is going forward. I could definitely see that being the case. One last question for you, and because I'm a mod pizza lover, being able to order digitally, has it changed the format of what the top pizza is in terms of your product mix? I'm kind of curious of where the product mix is shaking out now, that people are not right there looking at that beautiful fresh basil or some of those really awesome ingredients, versus now I got to do it on an app or via an AI voice robot. Has it changed the product mix popularity?
100%. People are much more daring on their computer or on their phone than they are in front of a mod squatter. And we have a few hypotheses why, people, when they're, talking face to face, there's judgments that they believe are being passed. And you
I
know,
want
there's
extra
there's
cheese
no judgment
and double
when I want-
pepperoni.
yeah, when I want my pineapple, no one's judging me on my, on the pizza
Right.
that I've just put that ingredient on. So
Interesting.
yeah,
That's
it's
a good
very
point.
dramatically different in store versus online.
Wow. So throw the product mixes out the window, because once you go to a predominantly digital format, you've got some new age theory on what people really
Yeah.
love in menu items. So that's going to be fun to watch. Hey, Kevin, it's been great having you on the show today. Thank you so much for stopping in on Fast Casual Nation.
Oh, thanks so much, Paul. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Tell Scott I said hello, and I'll see him hopefully one day again when we can travel.
Fantastic. I will. Take care.
All right. All right, so you guys are listening in, hopefully over on iTunes and Spotify. Make sure and drop us a review. We love to get your feedback over there. If you have an idea for a show here on Fast Casual Nation, shoot that to producer@foodibletv.com. And you can also hit me up over on Twitter @Paul Barron. That's the best way to reach me. So just make sure you keep listening right here. Subscribe also. And lastly, if you're checking this out on YouTube, give us some comments. We'd love to get your feedback and learn more of what you'd like to hear right here on Fast Casual Nation. We will catch you next time.